my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, welcome to Storytime Smash Sunday. I know you guys are probably wondering, Kaylee, what the fuck is that? I'm going to explain. So, for years, I feel like I have been promising you guys a second video a week, okay? And I think I had explained this to you guys that some of the story times that are sent in to me are too long for TikTok and too short for the long form story times on YouTube. So those stories are kind of just sitting in a submission page, not really being touched or looked at, okay? Well, I have found the perfect way to put these juicy story times to use for you guys. So we are going to be doing a story time smash. Pretty much what I'm going to be doing is I put a few story times together that I am going to make into a long form video. So this video, since it's the first video, it'll probably only be around like 20 minutes long, but as we go further, I'm going to start adding more story times for longer form videos, okay? Like today, I have 4 juicy story times for you guys, and I am super excited, so let's get into today's story times. I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, so first we are going to do my quick usual little rundown. Okay, so for most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, story time number 1. My husband-to-be cheated on me with 10 other girls while he was deployed in Korea. Men just keep finding new ways to disappoint us, don't they? So a little background information. I had met this guy who we're gonna call Bryce over Instagram, and him and I met while he was deployed in Korea. Well, I decided that I was going to be loyal to a man that I was not even dating and wait for him for a whole year to come home. And during this time, I was not messing with any other guys. But the reason being was he refused to ask me to be his girlfriend until he got home. Which, yeah, it sounds like a red flag, but he made it seem very sweet and, you know, romantic. It really wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't. Anyway, so fast forward, he comes home in February, and the first day that we met in person, he kept his promise and he asked me to be his girlfriend. But that honeymoon did not last very long because him and I ended up having a fuck ton of arguments about shit that he was doing while he was in Korea. Because things just kept coming up randomly, okay? So fast forward, him and I have officially been together for like 9 months when all of a sudden he finds out that he is getting deployed again to Europe in like September of 2022. So homeboy decides that he's gonna propose in July, like 2 months before he's supposed to leave, and like a dumbass who was in love, I said yes. Now, for some reason, he had begged me to get married to him before he was deployed, and I told him no because I just wanted to make sure that everything was good, okay? We were low-key having some problems, and I did not want to be married to somebody who was going to go off to another country and go fuck anything that walks. Like, absolutely not. And thank goodness I didn't, because listen, sis, I would have got married, and the same day I would have been serving divorce papers, okay? Okay. So, kind of long story short, Bryce starts acting extremely weird. He's going out, getting drunk a lot, and he's not wearing the wedding band that he literally begged me to get him. So that way girls would know that he had a girlfriend or a wife or whatever the fuck. Like, this man literally begged me to get him this ring. He was like, please, I want girls to know that we're together. Like, did you really? Did you really? Be so fucking for real. So fast forward, the one day this girl DMs me and she asks if him and I are in a relationship. Of course I say yes. Well, funny enough, it turns out that 2 days after he got deployed, he made a fucking Tinder. After only 2 days of being deployed. And his excuse was, well, I need some friends to teach me German. And listen here, I might have missed a few of those red flags in the beginning, right? but I am not fucking dumb, okay? So I was not about to give up until I got everything out of this motherfucker, and I did. The conversation pretty much ended with him admitting to me that he was cheating on me with 7 other fucking girls. 7 girls. Oh, and the icing on top of that cake, on top of that already shitty ass fucking disgusting tasting cake, one was a minor. Yep, she was 17 and he was 23. So of course I leave him, and then this motherfucker literally has the audacity to ask me for my ring back. So I pretty much tell him, go fuck yourself. If you want it back that bad, take me to court. Because all I have to do is tell your sergeant you are sleeping with a minor. After that, of course, he shut the fuck up and I sold the ring for double what it was worth. And before we end this story time, I just want to give you a little bit of an insight to how much of a douchebag this guy was, okay? The one night, one of his friends left him at a bar, okay? And he was apparently too drunk to call for a ride home. So me being the caring and concerned fiance that I am, I'm over here in the US trying to find him a ride home. You know, I'm calling his sergeant, team leaders, everybody in the fucking book. And all while I'm doing this, what is he doing? He's making out with some bitch outside of a fucking bar instead of finding himself a ride home. Like, what a fucking pig. Oh, and on top of that, the reason why he didn't ask me to be his girlfriend until he came home from Korea was because he was screwing 10 other girls over there. Like, how romantic. I wonder what his thought process was. Like, you know, it's not cheating if I don't ask her until I get there, but I'm gonna make her think that I'm loyal and dedicated to her. Granted, I mean, like, we actually weren't in a relationship, so he could have done whatever the fuck he wanted technically, but morally it was fucked up, okay? And of course, you know, I didn't find out any of this until after him and I called off the engagement. So, yeah. I feel like I always hear stories of guys who are in the military being cheaters. Like, I could be totally wrong, but from most of the people that I know who have dated people who were in the military, yeah, they always say that, like, they've been cheated on by them or done really fucking dirty. Okay, everybody, that is the end of story time number 1. We are going to transition into story time number 2. Story time about how I was catfished by my ex-boyfriend. So a little background information. I was 16 years old and in 10th grade. So I have been dating this guy who we are going to call Jack. And I've known Jack probably since I was in middle school, but him and I didn't start dating until our freshman year of high school. Now, him and I have always got along super well, and we've always kind of had a crush on each other, but I'll say that he started changing whenever him and I got into 10th grade. Now, Jack has always been a nice and friendly guy, but for some reason, he decided that he wanted to start being extra friendly, especially with females.
Oh my God! Wow!
We love that, don't we? Now, I didn't really think too much of it in the moment because I'm like, okay, well, you know what? He's just a nice guy. He's just a really nice guy. And maybe he was just trying to become an even nicer guy, which literally wasn't even fucking possible. I was just making up excuses. Well, actually, maybe not, because he also told me over the summer that he wanted to start changing up his characteristics, whatever the fuck that means. So anyways, fast forward, the one day I am in the library and my friend Chloe runs up to me and she shows me this picture of Jake with his hand on some girl's upper thigh. So of course I am hoping that this is just some misunderstanding, because what the actual fuck. But later on that day I decided to confront him. So after school that day I decided that I was going to confront Jake. And when I did, he was like, no, I swear I wasn't rubbing her thigh. Like, she was forcing me to do it. I didn't want to.
You lying? Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I won't ever do it again. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. I just really don't know how she could be forcing you to rub her thigh. So for some sick, twisted fucking reason, I believe him. But obviously, because of this, I started having some trust issues with him, as I should. So yeah, this gave me some trust issues, and I started paying more attention to the way he was acting. And once I did, I kind of realized that he was going out way more, which obviously, you know, he has friends. I don't expect him to just revolve his life around me, obviously. But not only that, whenever he would go to these places, he would have his location turned off, and it would only turn off whenever he would go out of his house, which was definitely really fucking weird. So I confront him about this, and what do you know? He decides to flip the whole fucking thing on me. You know, of course, victimizing himself. Blah, 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 you're controlling, this, that, the next. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. So, you know, him and I end up breaking up. And I want to say like 5 months later, I meet this guy over the internet. And he was super cute. He was really caring. Him and I would talk literally like 24/7. It was like we'd known each other forever. Well, fast forward, him and I have been talking for a while, and of course I start to catch feelings for him. So I tell him that I like him, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend. Of course I said yes. And I'm not even gonna sit here and beat around the bush like I was totally ready to be his girlfriend. To be honest, at this point, I was really willing to date anybody that I even felt the littlest of a connection with, because I was lonely. So yeah. Well, the next day at school, Jake is like blowing up my phone and trying to talk to me in the hallways, smiling at me, giving me like these weird looks, and I'm ignoring him because obviously I have a boyfriend now. Like, what the fuck? Keep your grimy, disgusting ass away from me. Thank you very much. So over the next 2 months, my boyfriend, Mark, starts acting completely different. To put it short, like a fucking asshole. He was asking me for nudes 24/7. He didn't really even want to talk to me. And I think one of my biggest red flags was he never wanted to FaceTime. That probably should have been a major, major, major red flag, but yeah, it wasn't at the time. So the one day, him and I were having a really, really good conversation, and, you know, just a good day overall. So he ends up asking me for nudes, and I end up sending them. Yes, I do. So yeah, I send him some nudes, and then fast forward probably about a week later, Jake comes up to me and he shows me my nudes. Yup. And then he's like, if you don't do the nasty with me, I'm showing these to everybody. And I'm gonna tell everybody that we did the nasty anyways. Now, my parents were extremely fucking strict, okay? Like really, 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 really strict. So I decided to do the nasty with him, and then guess what happened? He ended up telling the whole school anyways and posting my nudes everywhere for everybody to see.
Don't be shocked. You're shocked? You're shocked?
Yep. Of course, my parents found out. They ended up actually moving me to a whole new school. And this man has the fucking audacity to message me still to this fucking day asking for another chance. Like, I don't know how people have the audacity to do you so dirty and then act like they deserve to still be in your life. Okay, everybody, that was the end of story time number 2. Now we are on to story time number 3, which just so happens to be my own story time. I know, you guys literally have been begging me for a story time that is mine. Here is one, okay? It's short, but it's mine, okay? Okay. Okay, so story time about how I unintentionally almost drowned my sister. So a little background information, I was 8 years old and my sister was 5. And so for the past few summers since my dad and stepmom got together, our family has been going to my grandpa's house, which is probably like an hour outside of the city. It was more of like a suburb country area, I would say. By the way, if this shade does not match my skin, I know. Just don't worry about it, okay? Okay. Anyway, so during the summertime, we never really got to go swimming. because number one, pool memberships were extremely expensive for literally no fucking reason. And my family didn't really have time to take us to a public swimming pool. You know, they were working during the day, and not only that, but the ones that were close to us were pretty dirty and just not in good areas. Anyways, so anytime that we would go to my grandpa's house, we would be in the pool like 24/7, because we would go only like one weekend during the summertime. Now, my sister and I were allowed to go into the pool without floaties, unless we wanted to go into the deep end, which is pretty self-explanatory. Neither of us could fucking swim. Anyways, so, you know, I wake up the next morning, and this was like, I think, our last day at our grandpa's house, and I hurry up and finish my breakfast, and I run outside, put my sister's floaties on because mine actually got popped. Anyway, so yeah, I put her floaties on and I jump into the deep end really quickly because I know this bitch wasn't going to be able to get me if I got in the pool first. I also was in a rush because my sister, I knew that as soon as she came outside and saw me with her floaties on, she was going to cause a fucking scene. Like, I just knew it. Well, what do you know? I was right. My sister ends up coming outside and she sees me with her floaties on and she's like screaming, crying, blah, 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 blah. And of course, me being the annoying big sister that I am, I'm just swimming around, ignoring her, like la la la, you know. And then she did something that I did not expect her to do. Her psycho ass gets in the pool and tries to come and get them from me. And listen, besides my sister being 5 and not being able to swim, she was also super tiny, okay? Like, she was really short, still had to stand on her tippy toes in the shallow end of the pool. Yeah, she was just really, really tiny, okay? Anyway, so there was this little slope that led into the deep end of the pool, and it was very slippery. Like, if you were to walk over there and just stand on it, you would slip into the deep end. So yeah, she is fucking determined to get these floaties off of me, okay? Well, what happens, she walks her ass over to the deep side of the pool and she slips. It was literally like a cartoon. You know how in a cartoon, you know, when they're slipping, their feet are going backwards super fast? That's literally what was happening. And I really didn't realize that she was drowning. I just sat there and stared at her and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, obviously I didn't say that, but I'm just sitting there staring at her, like waiting for her to stop being a drama queen, because that's what I thought she was doing, being a drama queen, which wouldn't be out of the normal from her, which wouldn't be out of the ordinary for her. But of course, thank God my dad came outside right in time. He jumped in the pool and he grabbed her and she was choking on water, like a lot of water. And I really just didn't notice. I thought that she was pretending and being super over dramatic, which now looking back at it, I'm like, shit. But yeah, after that, I was not allowed to go into the pool for the rest of the weekend for obvious reasons, because we did end up staying an extra few days. Those days were torture for my younger self. And at the time, I was literally so upset with my sister. Of course, now that I'm older, I understand the issue. I really do. Oh, and also I was grounded whenever we got home because my dad ended up spraining his ankle. Okay, everybody, that is the end of story time number 3. Now we are on to story time number 4. Okay, so story time about my 2 extremely toxic best friends. So this whole situation came about probably between 6th grade and my freshman year in high school. So when I was in middle school, I had met these girls who we're gonna call Allison and Jordan. They were super chill. We would hang out 24/7. Like, we became best friends probably instantly. Well, fast forward, I had gotten a boyfriend and I was super excited to tell my best friends, obviously. So, you know, I tell Allison, I show her a picture of him. She seems super happy for me. But then I would say probably like a month later, things started to feel super sus. And by that, I mean she was acting extremely fucking weird. Well, apparently she saw his Instagram name and the bitch decided that she was gonna fucking hit my boyfriend up, you know, like try and talk to him. And I guess, you know, they became best friends, and my boyfriend never told me about this until basketball season started. So, you know, basketball season starts up, like I said, and then he comes to my school for a game, and for some reason I couldn't see him, but Allison was allowed to. Now, with her being my best friend, I obviously had trusted her around my boyfriend, and whenever literally as soon as I walked into school, 3 of my other girlfriends ran up to me and they were like, OMG, you're never gonna guess what happened. Your boyfriend cheated on you with Allison. Of course he did. Of course he did. So, you know, of course I run to the bathroom and I'm fucking bawling my eyes out, you know, like my young pre-adolescent self was absolutely destroyed that her first boyfriend cheated on her with her best friend. So then I want to say, like, literally not even like 2 minutes later, I saw that my boyfriend had texted me, and he was saying that his mom didn't want him in a long distance relationship anymore, which was honestly a fucking load of bullshit, because he literally only lived like 20 minutes away from my house. But, you know, okay, go off, sis. Also, his mom actually really liked me, so I knew that all of this was just a fucking lie. Like, what a fucking coincidence that as soon as that you and Allison did shit together, your mom doesn't like me. So I just texted him saying, how's Allison? Good luck with that long distance relationship. Well, you know, thank God karma's a bitch, because Allison ended up cheating on him like a year later. Anyway, so fast forward a few years, I end up running into him while I was on vacation. He was saying that he wishes he never cheated on me, and you know how much he misses me, blah, 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 this, that, and the next. And then, of course, my dumbass, who clearly did not learn the first time, was like, well, you know what? He says he's changed, so let's give it another go. And yet again, someone who was supposed to be my best friend, aka Jordan, found out that him and I were dating. And then she starts talking to him. And then, of course, what happens? They both fucking catch feelings. Like, I literally just can't catch a break with these fucking whores. So once again, him and I break up. And then he ends up, like, none of us ever ended up talking to him again. He kind of just fell off the face of the earth after that. Thank God. And Jordan and Allison were best friends before I had met them. Now I can see why, because they're both backstabbing bitches. Like, any guy that I would say that I'm interested in or I'm like hanging out with, they would try to find out who it is and then try to find any way to get in contact with them. Like, after my, you know, ex-boyfriend, they would literally have the audacity to fucking ask me, oh, like, what's this new guy's Snapchat, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Like, it literally seemed like girl code did not fucking exist to them anymore. Well, you know what, at least whenever it came to me, when it came to them, girl code was the most important thing in the world. Literally. Because, you know, fast forward to the summertime, Jordan would be telling me about some guy that she liked. But if I even said one thing about him, like, oh yeah, he's cute, you know, oh yeah, this, that, the next, you know, she would be like, oh my God, like, what about girl code? I called dibs on him. I liked him before you, blah, 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 bullshit. Like, at this point, even after saying this, she still has the fucking nerve to tell me, oh yeah, like, I like this one guy, blah, blah, blah. I'm hooking up with him, and I'm like, oh, who is it? And she brings up my ex-fucking boyfriend. Like, at this point, fuck girl code, okay? Fuck girl code. And so that's whenever I finally went off on her. I was like, listen, I was like, you guys have been treating me like shit. You've been walking all over me, you know, like, there's no fucking girl code whatsoever, no loyalty or anything in this fucking friendship. I'm tired of this shit. And then she's like, oh my God, I didn't even realize. I'm gonna go cut myself now.
Bruh.
And I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Don't do that. Don't fucking do that. There's no reason for that, okay? And then she's like, no, I have to. I deserve it. So at that point, I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm like, listen, if y'all fuck with me this year, I'm gonna beat the shit out of all of you, okay? Okay, everybody, that is the end of story time number 3. Now into story time number 4. By the way, my makeup looks terrible because I literally look like a ghost, but I don't know how to fix it, so we're just gonna ignore it, okay? We're just gonna ignore it. Okay, story time about my very toxic foster home. So a little background information, I was 19 and I was already out of school whenever this all happened. But we're gonna rewind back to whenever I was like 16, okay? Because that is whenever I got adopted by a family who had been fostering my brother for the past like year. Now, the only thing that my foster parents really knew about me was whatever my brother had told them. And I guess that he did not tell them such great things about me because my sister had passed away whenever I was 17, right? I went into a deep depression. I woke up and went to sleep crying for months on end. I started gaining a bunch of weight. And my foster family got paid probably $800 to $1,000 every month for me. Just me, okay? I never saw a fucking dime of that money. Never. Let alone, we only shopped for clothes once a year. I never got to have a life beyond the walls of that home. So I actually decided to seek help from my foster parents. I was telling them that I was feeling super depressed, and they were like, okay, well, if you're not feeling better after vacation, we'll get help for you. After vacation, it didn't get better, it got worse. My foster family was actually treating me like shit. I started sneaking out with guys that were older than me. I was drinking alone, literally getting drunk until I would black out. And then when I told my biological brother how I was feeling about all this shit and how I was getting treated, he was like, oh, you're just too sensitive. Like, him and my foster dad, which was absolutely ridiculous because my foster dad would literally pay his own kids, including my brother, to go on a bike ride with him or pay them to do their chores. Meanwhile, me, I literally would clean their whole fucking backyard by myself, which the backyard looked like a fucking jungle. Like, it looked like a fucking tornado, hurricane, whatever the fuck ran through there. I would clean the whole house by myself. And eventually at 19, whenever I got a boyfriend, they started treating me even worse. Like, you know, they wanted me to cook their food. If I didn't cook it fast enough, I would be yelled at. I was literally like Cinderella. I was losing myself, trying so hard to make all of them happy and make them not hate me. Now, my boyfriend obviously saw how bad I was suffering mentally, and he offered to help me. Again, I was 19 whenever all this happened, but whenever I would leave the house, my biological brother would fucking stalk me 24/7, and somehow he literally always knew where I was at. Like, I'm pretty sure this motherfucker had a tracker on me. Like, he was making my life worse on top of everybody else. Eventually, I was so physically and emotionally and spiritually fucking drained, so I woke up the one morning and just decided to fucking leave. And after I decided to leave, I was getting harassed for a year straight with threats. I would get tailgated on the freeway, like so bad to the point where I like had almost crashed a few times. Like, they were literally fucking psychotic. I'm so happy I no longer live with any of them because, you know, I was always being forced to do what everybody else wanted me to do, try to make everybody happy while they're all hating on me. Also, my biological brother was literally like the main problem. He was making everybody in the house hate me. He was stalking me. I wouldn't put it past him if he tried to unalive me. Let's just say that. Okay, everybody, that is the end of Storytime Smash Sunday. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know how to send in your anonymous storytime, or you want to send in your anonymous storytime, make sure to click the link down below in the description. And if you guys have any tips or anything for this new sort of video, let me know down below in the comments because I would love to hear some feedback. But other than that, I will see you guys next week with a new storytime.